A very good morning. I bid to the honorable judges, the timekeeper, and my fellow audience. As for this beautiful day, my topic is going to be stress. Now, the topic stress is enough to cause actual stress, so please bear with me on this one. So now, I decided to choose stress. Why stress? This is because stress is something we face in our daily lives. We can't go around saying, hey, I'm not stressful. We are all stressful, and especially we as teenagers, we suffer stress on a daily basis. So now, taking stress on a general topic, I would like to talk on a more specific note, that is stress in teenagers. Why did I choose teenagers? Because teenagers, we are in the transitional period of growth where we are more sustainable to emotional and other influences. So when I say emotional influences, what I mean is we cannot think well. When we get something, we immediately perceive it as something that brings us down. For example, I give you the most easiest one, additional mathematics. When we see it, do we look at it as, hey, I'm getting a holiday work? No. We see maths, we think of it as a burden. Why? This is because our mind is trained. We see something we don't like, we put it as a burden. Simple enough. And when we put it as a burden, what we're actually doing is we're putting it under the stress classification. So when we're doing it, we're not doing it for the fun of it, but we're doing it because we're stressed and we are forced to do it. So now, stress is in everyone's life, but what can stress actually do to us? Given as teenagers, based on a personal experience, I can tell you stress has many bad implications on us. For once, stress will cause us to be isolated from society. Now, isolation from society is serious. When we are stressed, we feel so down that we don't want to communicate or socialize with others. This is why you see many of us tend to lock ourselves in the room the moment we come home from school. We don't socialize because we are stressed. It is not because we have girlfriend problems like what our parents may think, but it's because of sheer stress. And also, it can cause us to be less focused in our work. Stress has a positive note. Everything has its boon and its bane. So we take the positiveness of stress. Stress can be used to motivate ourselves. We can see something as stressful, we see it as an obstacle. So what we're supposed to do is work harder to overcome it. But no, what we see is when we see stress, we immediately see something that puts us down. So we tend to avoid it completely. So therefore, stress will put us down on our performances because we will do it out of force and not out of willingness. And we all know, if you want to learn something, we have to learn it by heart, not by force. So then, what can we do to overcome stress? Many people think stress is a big problem. They can't do anything about it. But actually, if you want to overcome stress, it's fairly simple. Number one, stress can be overcome by the very things we do at home. For example, music. Now, music plays a key part in every teenager's life. But then, I'm not talking about the music these days. And when I mean music these days, what is it? Give me an example. Anaconda, I'm sure you all know what that is. Trumpets, I don't need to explain. And wrecking ball, we all know, we are all familiar with it. This kind of music, it doesn't help us to relax. This is because the lyrics contain profanities and obscenities. This is not what we need to hear in order to let ourselves relax. No, what we need is some soothing classical music. Anyone? Beethoven? That is classical. Or maybe some olden day songs which contains zero profanity. But no, the moment we turn on the radio today, we start singing along to lyrics that we may not even understand. And secondly, we need adequate sleep. Many people overlook this very simple term. They think that no, sleep is not important, we need to study more. It is true, we need studies, but we're not supposed to abandon sleep just to study. And most of us, teenagers, we tend to mug for our exams. Notice that I used the term mug. Why did I do this? It's because as teenagers, we naively do not understand the consequences or the implications of studying in the long run. We don't study in the long run. So for example, if we have exam tomorrow, when do we study? Tonight. That is a clear fact. We all do that. So this mugging is not going to help us. When we mug for our tests, we are forcing information into our brain beyond its capacity. We all know everything has a limit, including our brain, even though how superior it may be. But when we mug for a test, pushing too much information, we are not helping our brain at all. We are in fact burdening our brain and putting extra stress on our bodies. We are not studying late at night. We're just reading a book, hoping that whatever we're looking at will somehow enter our brain. But no, when we're just looking at it, it just goes in one ear and it comes out the other. And then stress will have the effect on the next day during the examination itself. You may walk into the hall confident, full of confidence because you've studied the day before. But the moment you get the paper, stress will start to slowly take over. It will cause you to forget everything and you will have something we call a panic attack. At that spot, you'll be blank. You'll have no idea what to do And who is it to blame? It's not your parents, it's not your teachers, and it's not the subject. But it's to blame yourself for not properly having time management. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when I say that stress is in everyone's life, I really mean it. You can't not saying, hey, I'm living a stress-free life. That is total nonsense. However, even though we have stress, we need to manage it. Management of stress is more important than avoiding stress itself. So, and stress will lead to depression. Now, depression is no joke. Depression causes children suicide, and it causes many things. So what do we do? However depressed you are, always remember, every tunnel has the light in the end, and every cloud has its own silver lining. So if you're stressed, try to change your ways now. It's not too late. Stress can be a benefit to us if we change our perception and we look at it that way. This concludes my speech for today. Thank you very much for your time and attention.